Oh, am I working now? All right. Sorry. It said the live was down for a while. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. That was strange. How was everybody? It said the streaming was down. I had to reload it like 4 times. Cool. I still haven't figured out the whole light thing, so let me see if I can turn it down a little bit. Hold on. It's a lot of glare. Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. That's not going to do it either. Well, what are you going to do? How was everyone tonight? Thoughts on Jeffries endorsing Mamdani? It's about damn time. I think it's a half-ass endorsement. I think he doesn't want to do it, but it's the right thing to do. I think Jeffries is a spineless jellyfish. He's a Timo congressman. The dude was a nominee 2 months ago. What's he waiting for? What are his concerns? He wants free buses. He wants affordable housing. Oh no, the horrors. He wants people to have a living wage. See, the Democrats are doing the same thing again. They're allowing the Republicans to push the narrative. They're allowing them to talk about undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants in their terminology. They're not pushing back on what socialism is. Most of their states are socialism. Why aren't the Democrats saying, then why are you guys taking so much money from the government if you're against socialism? But the Democrats don't know how to fight. An odd numbered year. Yep, I just sent my ballot in. I think Saturday I dropped it off. My kid's voting for the first time, which is kind of exciting. I don't. So in California, we have Proposition, what was it, 80? I think it was called, or no, 50. I don't want to gerrymander the districts, but we need to. I hope there's not enough of these elitist blue MAGA that have some kind of weird, jacked up moral compass that are going to vote against it for some moral reason. They would rather let democracy die. And when I explained it to my 18-year-old, I said this: let's assume that we don't vote on it. Let's assume that this bill doesn't pass because morally we're against it, which we both agreed, because this is his first election on anything ever. What's going to happen if we allow the red states like Texas to keep doing the gerrymandering and we don't fight back? Then we won't have a democracy, right? Or we won't have fair elections. So we don't have a choice. So that's how I had to look at things. Eli asked if I was running for any office, what would it be? Wow. I think a balanced budget is good. We don't want to go into debt. I have a platform. I'll tell you what it is. Hold on. I'll read it to you. Hold on. There it is. I'll read you. It's right here. It's on my phone. Make adoption easier. People shouldn't have to spend $10,000 or $20,000 and wait a full year to adopt a kid. That's ridiculous. Vocational education in high school. The budget, you have to figure out what that looks like. It's not impossible. Might be challenging. Not everybody needs to go to college. I believe that at this point, college, for some people, it's good. For some people, it just puts them in debt, and the ROI doesn't justify college. It's not what it used to be. Healthcare for everybody. We are the only country in the world, quote unquote, developed country, that doesn't have universal healthcare, and that's ridiculous. Minimum tax for the wealth. Just pick a percentage, 20%, 30%, 50%, whatever it is. Hold on, Eli. Let me get through this first. Dark money, ban it completely. Unexcusable. Clean, renewable energy. If we don't save this country, this world, we're going to die. We're going to burn to death, or worse. We're going to kill our oceans. Corals dying. The fish are dying. It's bad. It's just bad. We have to have low-income housing for people. In my town, people say they want low-income housing. But then when the rubber hits the road, what they always do is that they pivot. Well, not next to me because it's going to lower my property prices. Well, not over here because I don't want poor people living next to me. It sounds great. Well, thank you. Term limits on the Supreme Court, Congress, and the Senate. You have to have term limits. Ban semi-automatic weapons. There's no conversation about it. You either want to protect lives or you care more about a piece of metal than dead children, and you're just a shitty human being. There's no two sides. Because when the assault weapons went through the ban, before the Republicans overturned it because, they're so pro-life, there was a 42% decrease in gun violence. It worked. Safe gun storage laws, mandatory waiting periods, outlaw ghost guns. If you can't track it, it's not legal. A ghost gun is made with no background check, no registration, no way to track it, no way to know who uses it, who buys it. A felon can make one. That's ridiculous. I believe you should have 0% student loans from the government. It's our money. I do. For the people that currently have student loans, you should take away their interest and have them be responsible for the principal. We have to get people out of debt. That way they can use that money and buy a house, buy a car, have some kind of savings in case of an emergency. We can't say pick yourself up by the bootstraps, but then go into debt for 20 years and then buy a house at 50 years old and you're paying it off until you're 85. That is not an American dream. That is an American nightmare. Insider trading should be completely banned. The fact that people track Nancy Pelosi's stock is bad. It's because she knows what's going to happen. That's ridiculous. She's a she's worth like $140 million or something stupid. If you're a convicted felon, you should not be president. Insider trading is somebody like a Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell that have stocks and they vote on bills that will benefit them. An example, let's say a congressman has $2 million in Boeing and a bill comes up to the floor. Okay. Is it really, you think that congressperson that owns Boeing is going to vote in the best interest of the people or of their pocketbook? Their pocketbook. I would actually take it a step further. Ideally, any person that goes into public office, like in a Congress or Senate, should have to liquidate their stocks and put them into like a money market or a bond or a CD. None of them should even have the perception of profiting off of what they are in office by any laws. Border reform. I'm all for border reform. What's happening now is not border reform. It's cruel and unusual punishment. It's demonizing brown people that don't look like you. That's all it is. Actual border reform. People are waiting 10 years. A wall's not going to stop them. Get more judges in there. Figure out something with their families. Barron Trump is a Nepo baby. Yes, he is. What was the other thing? Abolish the Electoral College. You either win the vote or you don't. There's too many people that don't vote because they don't think their vote counts. And for many of them, they're absolutely right. It doesn't count. You should either win by the most votes or lose by the most votes. Every candidate should be forced to go to every state and campaign, period. Go to urban areas and rural areas. Go to all the areas. Right now, you only go to a handful of states. That's not true democracy. Because if you're in California and you vote red, the reality is your vote doesn't count. If you go to Texas and you vote blue, the reality is your vote doesn't count. It just doesn't. It makes you feel good. You should vote. But the Electoral College is a joke. It's minority rule. They should pass the George Floyd Voting Act. That's something else I would pass. That's ridiculous. The fact that we honored a racist podcaster who was the victim of a school shooting out of thousands of people, but George Floyd, who was murdered by a white cop, doesn't get anything? That's ridiculous. Washington, D.C. should become a state. There's over almost 600,000 people live there. And you can make the argument that Puerto Rico should be a state. There's over 3 million. Let me see how many people here. Hold on. Puerto Rico population. 3.275 million people live in Puerto Rico. Why in the hell don't they have representation? It's ridiculous. Why? What does this donkey in the White House say? I've talked to the president. What, you talk to yourself? You're the president of Puerto Rico, you dumbass. Of course you did. You talk to yourself all the time because nobody else wants to talk to you. It's ridiculous. Veterans healthcare has to be a priority. The fact that they served and then we just leave them like garbage is ridiculous and it's disgusting. Affordable drugs. We have to actually address the problem. And Mark Cuban has a good blueprint that I really like. I think it's called like Cost Less Drugs or something like that. But he's very transparent. The problem that I have with the ACA is A, people should not lose their health care. Okay. But the problem is this. If the insurance companies are charging somebody $1,000 a month, the ACA basically is kind of a Band-Aid. It's not a perfect solution. So we as taxpayers are footing half of the bill for people that don't have a lot of money. That's not a fix to the system. It's a bridge. The problem is we just keep dumping taxpayers' money into the problem instead of fixing the healthcare system. Cost plus drugs. Thank you. Yes. It's an excellent program. The prices are way less. They only put 15% profit. They have like $5 shipping and handling and $5 processing fee or something. They're very transparent about the prices. People should not die from lack of medication or health care. It's ridiculous. We have to address teachers. Now, I know that's not on the government level, but the fact that teachers don't get enough money, they work so many hours, they live paycheck to paycheck, and they have to ask for supplies and pay for it themselves is insane. That is not the way you treat teachers. Qualified immunity has to go. I don't give a damn. With great power comes great responsibility. If you're going to be a police and have a gun and have the ability to keep somebody against their will and handcuff them and throw them in your car, you should not be above the law. You should be held to the same standards that everybody on this live does. And there should be a national police database. So there's a donkey in Texas. They shouldn't be able to go to Florida and get a job because there's no tracking. That's the platform I would run on. I think it's pretty good. We do have to address the housing thing. Oh, yes. You're right, Cecilia. Election should be either national holiday or make it on a Saturday when most people aren't working. You're completely right. Eli, you have to look up the George Floyd voting act. That's kind of a longer conversation. It's about equal rights for voting for everybody, basically. The Supreme Court right now is hearing a case about overturning the Voting Rights Act, which is basically part of this country. The reality is they want to go back to segregation. They're not going to say that, but they do, right? DEI, CRT. If he's a black pilot, how do I know? The blacks are taking whites' jobs, taking away slavery at the Smithsonian, putting up Robert E. Lee's portrait and naming bases after Confederate soldiers who fought to keep black people as slaves. That's what it's about. Mario, I don't know if we're going to have elections in 26 at this rate. Community college was free until, I want to say, I think it was Reagan. Mr. Trickle Up Economics. Ronald Reagan. Abolished. I think it was Reagan. Yeah, in 1982, he asked for the abolishment of junior colleges. At one point, it was free, and it should be. If you go to most countries like Sweden or Germany, they don't pay for junior college. It's free. We've turned college into a multi-billion-dollar business. People go into debt for decades, and they don't get paid. The ROA for college is not what it used to be. If you're a doctor, a scientist, an engineer, a nuclear physicist, a job that requires a very specific set of traits, then yeah, it makes sense. A president should not be able to pick 1/3 of the Supreme Court. No, we also shouldn't have a convicted felon as president. This Supreme Court is essentially a branch of the executive branch. We don't even have, I think we have one branch. I mean, the president is basically the Speaker of the House, which he's basically said as much in private. You have the Supreme Court, which has given him qualified immunity. They're going to allow him to take away the Voting Rights Act, which gives them 19 more seats. They're acting in the president's best interests. They're not, and they're allowing them to racially profile people. Like, what in the hell is the Supreme Court doing? They're participating in the destruction of democracy. They're corrupt. They all need to be removed. And I put part of that on Joe Biden. Joe Biden should have stacked the Supreme Court. But he was too damn nice. And I will not forgive Joe Biden for that. He was a nice president. We needed somebody that knew what might happen and to take care of it. That old ass Mitch McConnell held up a seat for 1 year. And Joe Biden wasn't even willing to fight for it. I just don't understand that part of Joe Biden. That bothered me a lot. His lack of fight. Nice guy, decent, respectable. Got a lot of respect for him, but he wasn't willing to get his hands dirty and get down and dirty. And we're here because of that. My thumbnail. What do you think? It took me a lot of while to come up with that thumbnail. We're going to talk about that. A lot of people keep saying, and I made it on Sunday, I believe this is more of a faith thing. It's just not a preaching thing. Oh, Tommy had a question. Sorry, I missed it. Tommy said, yeah, if you have a question, you got to tag me so I see it. I don't see Tommy's question. I don't see him. I don't see him at all. You got to say it again, Tommy. I don't even see your name on here. I don't even see a post from you. Tommy. Oh. Yes, the Supreme Court is a branch of the executive branch. There's not a difference right now. My insurance in California went from $26,000 to $3,000 to $3,400 next year. Now I have to change insurance just to go back to an HMO. It's insane. Insane. And nobody's stopping them because they're donating to politicians. Yeah. My thumbnail. I want to talk about that. A lot of people said that God sent him here because of his little ear. Now, the first part of that's ridiculous. So basically, MAGA's perception is this, that God stood by during the Holocaust, World War I, World War II, the Middle Passage, the Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee, segregation, Jim Crow, Black Wall Street, Asian internment camps, thousands and thousands of dead during school shootings. So God just stood by, did nothing. But then he decided to come down and save his little orange ear, the man who's an adjudicated rapist? Really? Really? That's what God did, huh? Not the 7 million Jews, but his orange ear. But this is how dumb they are. Yeah, that's what they believe. I believe that a lot of people are leaving the church not because of God, but because MAGA is a piss poor reflection of what they claim to believe in. I believe that. I believe that he is a black light on the church to root out the moral rot within the church. Misogyny, white supremacy, racism. I talked to my pastor on Sunday, and I hadn't been in like 5 months. You would not believe the nasty emails. Some of them were like demonizing Jewish people that had nothing to do with him. All because he wouldn't say the name of a racist podcaster. Think about that. You've been going to church for 10, 20, 30 years, and you wake up, to praise Jesus, and you wake up and say, my pastor didn't mention the death of a racist podcaster who joked about dead Americans as the cost for the Second Amendment. And you decide to leave your church and say, I'm taking my money. Good. Get the hell out of his house because you don't belong there. If that's why you left the church, you were never there for the right reason. Get the hell out. And what you see is some of these mega churches, these big grifters, some of them that went all in on the whole MAGA thing, they like tripled in size. Good. Those are the white supremacist racists. They're never going to push back on their base. They're never going to address the real issues. There was a phrase in the old days that was called winnowing. And farmers would take a metal, one of those metal kind of like rakes, and they would toss it up in the air. And if you look at a piece of wheat, there's this chaff on the outside, or chaff, I could be saying it wrong. And it would separate the heads of the wheat from the chaff, and it would blow away. And that's what the church is seeing right now. You're seeing all of these fake Christians that are racist, misogynist, that vote for rapists. They're all being blown away just like that. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and it's sad. They're not Christians, they're Pharisees. They're the same group of people that murdered Jesus in the name of God. These same people justified voting for a rapist, a pedophile, a sexual abuser, a convicted felon, a guy who asked for the execution of 5 black men, who questions the birth of Barack Obama, who has dinner with white supremacists and cheats on his wife. But hey, no one's perfect. But I can't vote for a Democrat because they're gay. That's a bridge too far. That's outside the design of God. This is who they are. They want to play God. They want to take away people's free will, which is literally the antithesis. You don't have to like anything. I just mentioned a whole bunch of sins, but they're totally fine with that because they've decided to rank which sins are the worst. Correct. He may not have to run for a 3rd term. They're probably just going to rig the election. And whatever he's doing with the East Wing, it's not for a 90,000 square foot ballroom. It's whatever is under the 90,000 square foot ballroom that you should be concerned about. That's the real issue. Yeah. I thought his fat ass would put a Burger King there or a McDonald's. Mark Hamill posted, I think it was the Death Star. Let me see if I have that. Hold on. Oh, where's the Death Star? Is that it? Nope, that's my cat. Oh, yeah. There's my, I don't know if I can show it on here. See? That's my DEI cat. He's black. He's not allowed in the White House. It's National Cat Day, Black Cat Day. Did you guys know that? It's a thing. Here it is. Mark Hamill. Look at that. I wouldn't be surprised. He might build an Iron Dome there for all I know. Yes, we are in fascism. Scott Bessett said it's going in warp speed. Yeah, everybody in his cabinet is a simp. They're all sycophants. The good thing about the first term was that we had people that had a backbone, had some integrity. Now we just have people simping for him. Yes, daddy. Yes, daddy. I mean, he's basically, he's the president. He's basically the Speaker of the House. I mean, and you have the Senate, which is just nowhere to be found. I mean, he's literally tearing down the East Wing of the White House, and the entire party is saying nothing. What would you do to the fast food chains? I haven't thought about that. I mean, here's the thing with fast food. I lost 123 pounds, 132 pounds. Don't eat it. Nobody's forcing people to go to fast food. It's a choice. We choose to go there because we like comfort. We want something fast and easy. Do you think Obama should rerun against Trump if he's adamantly running for 28? No, I don't. Because that's not really what this is about. Because even if Obama runs, then he's just going to say it's rigged. It doesn't matter. He either wins or he wins when he loses. And you're going to have January 6, 2.0 probably. I don't think we're going to make it at this speed. I don't think this country is going to make it to the midterms. This is, I'm telling you, November 1st, when people don't have food, it's going to get bad. It's going to get really, really ugly. Even these donkey MAGAs that are like freedom, freedom, patriotism, blah, blah, blah. It's going to get ugly. Fast food isn't inherently bad. There's not a lot of good about fast food. Most of it's fried. Most of it's full of fat, additives, preservatives. I worked at Burger King. I've seen it firsthand. It's not good. It's all fried. The hamburgers are frozen. They look like Frisbees. You get them in a stack. I think it was 25. There were these stacks that were frozen of 25, and you would have to tap them on the metal and break them off and put them on the broiler. Then you put mayonnaise on them, cheese. I'm telling you, man, there is half of your calories. You have a meal from like Burger King or McDonald's, half of your calories for one day is in that one meal. And it's all gobbledygook. But one of the things they did with fast food was in certain geographic, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of black neighborhoods, is they would go in there and just dump in, like, I think it was like fried chicken restaurants or something, if I'm not mistaken, or McDonald's or something like that, because it was cheap. In some places, it was cheaper to eat fast food than to buy healthy vegetables and fruits. So they were able to do it because of that, which is sad. And then you kind of create this base that are dependent on that kind of food. But we have to bring the price of things down. And a lot of these jobs, yes, we're probably going to hit a depression. I'm telling you, my friends, this is going to get ugly. We're not even to the appetizer yet. We're still waiting for it. When the first comes, it's going to get really, really bad. You're going to have federal work. Just think about this. We have federal workers that are missing one paycheck that are already in food lines just for missing one paycheck. That's not good. People, ideally, you want 6 months worth of money put away in a perfect society. We have people missing one paycheck and they're in food lines. That's the problem. They're giving tax breaks to rich people. I mean, this is what's happening, people. All the wealth is going to a handful of people. We're all getting screwed. All of us. We're all being played by both sides. When it comes to the economics, morally, the Republican Party is not even close. They're so morally bankrupt. But they're doing it while they're crapping on brown people because they get off on it. Make America white again. Make Argentina great again. It looks like that Donald Trump gave money to Argentina to help him win that election, not to bail him out. Why? I don't know the answer to that. There's obviously something going on there with him and with Russia and with Iran. He has a handful of dictator countries that he's getting buddy-buddy with. Now, I don't know what else going on there. Yes, MAGA voted for this. Yes, Eli. Not just increase the price of, well, I don't believe that the fast food is made overseas. I believe that most of the fast food is made here. It's not imported. But what's happening is, in a roundabout way, what happens is when people have less money, they don't go out to fast food. Then it becomes a luxury. So they stop spending. If I'm not mistaken, the McDonald's stock actually went down, which was kind of crazy. McDonald's, let me look, hold on. I thought it was down. Maybe not. I had heard something about it was down. It's down $10. It's not too bad. No, it's not as bad as I thought. But you're going to see a lot of that. Las Vegas is probably the bellwether. There's a lot of people not going to Vegas or traveling right now. It is down. It's over 15 or 20% now. I wouldn't say it's a ghost town, but it is not good. Except for large events, Las Vegas is not doing good. Travel from Canada is down 80%. All the snowbirds aren't coming here. They don't want to mess with this. I got people that aren't coming to an event that I'm hosting next month for my business. And they say, well, I'm not coming down there. I don't want no part of that mess. I don't blame them. It's a disaster. Eli says, shut the country down. I don't believe that people are willing to sacrifice their comfort yet in order to do that, Eli. I've come to realize that. They're not willing to be uncomfortable. They're just not. Someone said, time to leave the USA. No, I'm not going to leave. Because this is where I have a problem, Tommy. Who are going to stand up for the people that can't afford to leave? Who's going to fight for them? I can't call myself a good neighbor if I'm just going to leave people here because they can't afford to. I mean, I live in a court, okay? Am I just going to leave them here knowing they can't leave? Wouldn't that make me a really crappy person? Like, there's some people legitimately are being mistreated, and I understand that. I'm not judging them, but I want you people to think about this for a second. And I made a video earlier today, and I'm going to post it tomorrow. No, I posted it 3:00 Pacific time, so 4 hours ago. I want you to think about this for people that want to leave. Going back to how black people have been treated in this country, just think about that. Jim Crow, they couldn't sit on a bus or drink from a water fountain, eat in the same restaurant, go to the same church. They were looked at differently. Their houses were redlined. Their houses were valued differently. They're paid less. People call them the N-word. This is decade after decade after decade. We're 9 months into this disaster. We've got to toughen up a little bit here, okay? Come on. Let's check our privilege at the door. We're not even warmed up yet. We got to develop calluses and stiffen our spine a little bit. We got to, quote unquote, pardon the phrase, but man up a little bit. Do a little gut check. Have a little more stamina then. Oh my gosh, it's bad. Yeah, it is bad. I'm not leaving. That's what bullies want you to do. You can't run from God's judgment. Lunda, I know that. And the one thing that gives me comfort is that the orange man and all of his racist white people that wears red hats like the Stephen Millers and the Scott Jennings, the white nationalist, they're going to stand before God one day and they're going to have their day. They're not going to have his base. They're not going to have money. He's not going to have his fake news. He's not going to have his white supremacy or his dumb base. He's not going to have his orange makeup or his diapers. And he's going to have his day. And he's going to spend a whole lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein. So whether he has his justice here on earth, he will have it in heaven. That gives me peace. And all of his people that enabled him, that rejoiced while he assaulted women, while he watched officers get beat, while he saw people suffer and starve to death and women lose their lives for the lack of health care, they're all going to have their day on Judgment Day. That gives me peace because they can't avoid that. They're not going to go on Fox News or CNN or some right-wing nut and propagandize it. They're not going to wiggle out of it. I have a friend that moved to, well, I'm sorry, they didn't move. Their kid went to college up in Canada to get away from this dumpster fire. Once, Toro's right, once people don't have food, you're going to see things get real fast. Real fast. And I still think it should stay shut down. I do. We have to go through this. It's the Epstein shutdown. Scott Jennings is a grifter. Him, people like Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro, or not Ben Shapiro. Yeah, Ben Shapiro. They're smart people that manipulate their uneducated white victim card base. They make them feel like the victim. And Scott Jennings said, well, it's the economy. Okay, Scott, as a person of faith that's supposed to, I've heard of Theo Don's just a little young, insecure, red-pilled, toxic masculinity white man that was never going to vote for a black woman because he felt demasculated. That's all he is. Okay, let's just be real. That's who he is. He didn't care about the assaults or the rapes or the insurrection or the dead officers. He didn't give a damn. He just wanted his bros to like him. He didn't want his base to leave him. So he hoarded himself out for money, for likes and views. That's all they all are. But they know his base. As long as you scare them and say a bunch of stuff about tampons in bathrooms and 0.001% of transgenders in sports and litter boxes, and you blame brown people that are taking all of your medication and all of your rights and all of your money. Oh my gosh, it must be true because I heard it 5 times today. Fear is a very powerful tool. His dad was 70 when he was born. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Megyn Kelly. Chris Cuomo's doing the same thing. What I'm seeing is that some of these people that used to be on the left, they see that there's a lot of money to be made in outrage, more than on the left. And they've tapped into that. When's the last time Chris Cuomo talked about Trump being an adjudicated rapist, or Epstein Island, or 13-year-old Katie Johnson, or January 6th? They completely avoid the history. Thank you, Ebony. I appreciate that. It's fear-mongering. It's white grievance. Look at Lincoln Riley. 43,000 people died that year. 43,000. Why did they pick her? Because it was a white girl and a brown person. Ooh, they're undocumented. Okay. Does it matter if they're an undocumented immigrant or a natural? There was over 43,000 murders that year, and the vast majority, 99.9%, were men. U.S. born. But you pick a brown person and you allow them to be the victim. Did you hear this outrage over Ahmaud Arbery when he was chased down by 3 white guys? Nope. Did you hear the outrage from the right about George Floyd? Nope. What do they focus on? A couple of dummies doing bad things because it allows them to be the victim. Why did they pick the racist podcaster to lose their minds over? Oh, put his name on a Starbucks cup. Oh, yes, I know. There were 7-year-olds murdered at a Catholic church. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, January 6th, officers died. Yeah, that's bad. But put his name on there. Oh, my gosh, we're going to protest. Oh my gosh. Like, there's a whole thing about these white ladies having an absolute breakdown, crying in their car because Starbucks wouldn't write the name of a racist podcaster. Let me see if I can find it. I had it on a video. Hold on. It was, where is it? Here it is. All right, hold on. I'm going to see if I can share this because I need to figure this out. Okay, hold on. Oh, wait, hold on. Also share audio. Okay. That. Oh, wait. Maybe I figured it out. Hold on. Tell me if you can hear this because I haven't figured this out yet. Hold on.
There was a quote unquote MAGA meltdown and it.
Here it
is. She's recording right now. Okay, I need you to understand. Dude, look at how fucking
okay, sorry. I didn't know that. Here we go. Here it is. I'll find one. Here it is.
So you didn't call his name out? You didn't call the name out?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
He's recording right now.
I am. Yep. Why can't you say his last name?
What is happening? Why are you being like that to her?
Why are you being like, why are you being like this?
No, why are you being
Yes.
like that to me?
Well, okay, why are you being like that to me? I'm not.
She's crying and she brought your dreams to
I actually am making a point, a big point.
Recording her, setting her up for failure.
I actually wrote a very good post prior to this.
Crazy, man.
It's not. I wrote a very good post prior to this.
But do you see the point? So what happened was, after the racist podcaster was the victim of a school shooting, one of thousands this year, all these white women went into Starbucks because they needed to be the victim. So this podcaster, who they've never met, who they didn't know, who never knew their names, who aren't related to them, aren't friends, aren't family, they went around to be a Karen, and they probably went to like 20 a day until they found the one that wouldn't say the name of Charlie. And they literally freaked out. They had people at these restaurants crying. This is what they do. 43,000 people die on average every year from gun violence. But somehow the MAGA women have to find a way to be the victim. There's other videos of women literally sobbing because they wouldn't put the name of a racist podcaster. Think about that. Because they don't care that you and I starve. They don't care that 14 million kids are going to school hungry. They don't care that all these people die in gun violence. They don't care that black women in Texas have a 3 times increased mortality rate. They don't give two shits. But this, they won't say the name of a racist, is a bridge too far. I can't believe this. Oh, God, Jesus, God, Jesus, God, Jesus. Oh, Judgment Day. Oh, please, it's all coming to an end. Jesus is coming. There's a revival. Bible sales are up 5 trillion%. Because this is the typical white evangelical. They've lived such a privileged life. For once in their lives, somebody that was the victim of gun violence was somebody that they actually knew their name, and now they give a shit. Now, not the kids in Uvalde that are identified by their dental records, but the guy that said dead Americans is worth, I think, yeah, it is, the Second Amendment. This is what they have to do, and this is why they keep voting for Republicans. It's populism. It's victim blaming. It's grievance. This is why we got where we are. It's the constant desire to be the victim. What did you see with Mike Johnson today, that white supremacist, right? Ooh, Hakeem Jeffries finally voted for Mamdani. Because he's brown, so all of a sudden he's a socialist. Ooh, a socialism. Oh, no, it's bad. Another scary word. They don't even know what woke means. You probably can ask 100 Trump supporters, maybe 3 can tell you what woke means. They just know it's a scary word, and they're too dumb to look it up for themselves. Lumda one day. The same. Yes, Trump Reaper said the same day that the racist podcaster, because that's what he was. It was my friend texted my wife and said that the school that had happened, her daughter was there, I think a year or 2 ago. There was a school shooting in Colorado Springs. Yep. Let's see. Let's see. Where is it? There was a clip. Anyway, but Charlie, listen, the racist podcaster, yeah, Evergreen, Colorado. But it's just, I just, what gets me about the evangelicals, which is why I made the thumbnail today, is they claim they're pro-life. With all the mass shootings, with women dying from lack of health care, with children starving to death, people with no health care, no food, they can't afford housing, nothing. And then you have people like Amber Thurman who die because she didn't get the health care she needed. But one guy runs his mouth and is the victim of school shooting. It's just really sad. That it seems like once the baby's born, they just don't give a damn. They don't care if it's shot. They don't care if it starves to death, if it has housing, if it has clean air, clean water. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Have a good evening. They're forced birth. They're the opposite of pro-life. I mean, they don't even want to put a simple measure in that you have to have safe gun storage. Literally, the very bare minimum. They're not even for that, or a background check, or safe training. How would you help struggling communities? Oh, I don't know, Eli. That's kind of a long question, buddy. A lot of that's going to have to be local. There's only so much you can do on the federal level. A lot of that stuff has to be organically coming together. I think more than anything, we have to address healthcare, which means that you're going to have to either build government hospitals. I would be open to that. I don't really care about the privatized. I want people to not go broke having healthcare. And if you have to compete, you want to call it communism? I don't know. But this isn't working. This privatized healthcare that's screwing people out of thousands of dollars every year, putting them in debt, it's not working. This is not working. That's what I know. Something has to change. And using our taxes to offset private companies, that's not the solution. That's ridiculous. It's a waste of money. We have to change the system itself. Yeah, you're not right. Yeah, Miguel, you're right. It's outrage. Charlie Kirk's. Yeah, Charlie, the racist podcaster, said that he wants Taylor Swift to submit to her husband like a good little conservative. That's what he did. He went around and he told people that your masculinity is going away because women are being taking your jobs. They're in places of power. Somehow that your manly manness is going away. It's just, they've red pilled a lot of young men. And they've told them that it's okay to have a president who sexually assaults women. It's disgusting. I've had multiple conversations on TikTok with people that knew that he sexually assaulted Jean Carroll. They didn't care. As long as they got no tax on tips, as long as they get something for themselves, they don't care. They're willing to trade morality and integrity and treating one with respect for a couple of bucks. And then when you ask them, what if it was your mom? What would they say? Well, probably not. So if it happens to your mom, it's okay. If it happens to E. Jean Carroll or Katie Johnson or the 25 other women or his second ex-wife, that's a bridge too far. Joe Rogan is the very definition of toxic masculinity. Him and his tats and his ripped shirt and smoking cigars with neon signs. He's the typical broski, right? You go out there and you fight a bear and you catch a salmon with your bare teeth and eat raw steak on a board. It's this effed up version of masculinity. And it's not masculinity. It's like these, what do you call them? Like a beta cuck males or something like that. It's just gross. But that's where we are. So we have to address that as a society. There's too many young men that are into that. And when you look at these Republican chats, they're literally talking about praising Hitler and gassing people and calling women disgusting terms. And they're like, oh, haha. And what does the vice president say? Oh, they're just kids. Oh, yeah. 30-year-old kids that are praising Adolf Hitler. Yeah, but there's there's things to worry about, like making sure people have food on Friday, opening the government, not voting for a rapist president. You know, there are more important things, JD Vance. Hey, Liam. Listening to those fake masculinity podcasts make me want to go somewhere to meet somebody just away from those losers. Yeah, Miguel, what I've discovered with a lot of those bros is after the last election, a lot of women not just left their boyfriends, they left their husbands. And I said, good for you. Because those women said, if you really cared about women, me, why are you voting against my own best interests? How could you vote for a guy that treats women this way? And they're like, you know what? Screw you. And then what happens is you get these men that are like, well, now I don't feel like I'm a manly man. What do I do? And they feel like this, like a sad little cat that didn't get his treats or was fed an hour late for breakfast. And they don't know what to do. And they're all angry. And what happens? They're told not to have emotions, not to have empathy or sympathy, not to forgive people, not to be kind because it's not manly. And then what happens is they keep it bottled up. So look at it like a pot of boiling water. And it boils and it boils and it boils. And at some point, the lid blows up, right? 98% of gun violence are men. The vast majority are white men. Think about that. Because they're all angry and pissed off. January 6th, white men. Felon in the White House, white man. Bill Clinton cheated on his wife with Lewinsky, a white man. I don't like him either. I can't stand Bill Clinton. He's a pig. You don't do that to women. You don't cheat on your wife in the White House. You're disgusting. But this is what happens. And not just, same thing with the NFL. Not just white men, all kinds of men. As long as you're a stud and you can play a sport and make me money and get rankings and views, all overlook, like Deshaun Watson. Multiple women accused him of assaulting them. They ignored it because he can throw a football. He's a real man, right? That's just a sad reality. We overlook a lot of this stuff. As long as I get something I want. Yeah, I voted. I don't even know if I voted for Bill Clinton. I forgot who ran against him. Yeah, I care about decency. I voted for Perot, I voted for Bush, I voted for McCain, then I voted for Obama, and I voted for Biden and Harris. I voted all across the spectrum. And I thought they were all decent human beings. I respected them. Perfect? No. Did I agree with every policy? No. I can accept bad policy. What I cannot accept is bad morality. Yeah, you're right. When Bill Clinton was cheating on his wife, that was like the most horrible, horrific thing ever in the history of mankind. And then you had a black man wearing a tan suit because that was just a bridge too far for some people, right? Oh no, anything but that. Ugh. He's literally tearing down the White House, sending $40 billion without the permission of Congress to Argentina, spending $350 million on that rebuild, taking money from private citizens that doesn't even make any sense. They're buying power. And he spent $40 billion golfing, $20 million on I mean, this doesn't make any sense. People can't even eat. This dude's spending $350 million on rebuilding the White House while the government shut down. And Mike Johnson's nowhere to be found. This is why these types of crimes are unreported. You're right. Because when you normalize the mistreatment of women, women don't come forward. And I don't blame them. The whole thing with E. Jean Carroll, the handful of times that I've talked to MAGA on my live on TikTok, and I don't debate them, that is my only question. Why wasn't that a red line? Well, I don't believe it. F you. Get off of here. I don't care what you think. There was a courtroom that found him liable at a court of law. And unless you're an attorney, which most of these guys can't even tie their damn shoe because they're dumb, they just don't want to believe it because it allows them to support this pile of human garbage. It's the same thing again and again and again and again. If I still had those negative thoughts. Yeah, a lot of these men are just unhappy and they need to be the constant victim. And that's the sad part. And I think I've said this before, but there is a word called schadenfreude, which means that people love the suffering of others. And MAGA loves people that are suffering. The reality is a lot of these people grow up in rural areas that's all white, okay? And they don't have a lot because they vote for Republicans. Republicans get rich people, corporations, to donate to them. They give them tax breaks so that they make money. But what happens is instead of making their lives better, they get them into culture wars, right? Ooh, look at all these transgenders. Ooh, look at these rainbow flags. Ooh, look at gay people. Ooh, look at the black people. And they scare them. And then they say, well, it's not your fault you live in a crappy trailer, that you live with your sister and date your daughter. No, it's the libtards. So what happens? They get angry and they blame somebody else for their shitty life. And that's what the guy did in the last election. He blamed the brown people. Somehow the undocumented immigrants were the enemy, not the convicted felon who caused an insurrection and led to the death of 5 officers. And he convinced enough people with concepts of brains that don't have a lot of IQ, that watch Fox News all day, that need to be the victim, poor me with the white victim card, that even though he lied 40,000 times, that he's somehow the better candidate. Dana White has, before I speak out of turn here, hold on. I don't want to speak out of turn here. Hold on. In January 2023, a video emerged of UFC President Dana White slapping his wife. Now, what I know is this. When things like that happen, because I grew up with a dad that was like this, that's the first time he got caught. That is not the first and only time he ever did that. That I can almost guarantee you. But these are the people, these bros, that don't respect women. I get pissed off just reading something like that. I'm mad about Bill Clinton cheating on his wife. I get mad about that. Oh, I'm sure Triple H, it's the same demographic of angry, mentally unstable, emotionally damaged white men. They're angry, they're juiced up, they want to punch each other, they want to fight, they need constant conflict. Do you think these people want Jesus? This woke, radical left libtard? No. They want an alpha male. They want someone to fight, fight, fight. Take it to the enemy. What I don't understand is that they have voted for GOP majorities in states for decades because, Cecilia, they don't know how to be happy. They're dumb. They're truly dumb. They do. They're good at propaganda. You have people right now that legitimate. Don't forget, when Donald Trump told people to inject disinfectants, people died from that because they listened to him. They're dumb. Let me see. How many people? Let me see. Oh. Now, I don't know how many died, but in the first few months of the pandemic, a study published, there were hundreds of people that died globally after injecting methanol and or alcohol-based cleaning products, falsely believing they could cure COVID. Gee, I wonder where that came from. At least 5 states reported an increased call in poison control. Following Donald Trump's suggestion that last week disinfectants be considered a possible treatment for the novel coronavirus. Yes, people actually started ingesting disinfectants like Lysol last week. When he was asked about it, I can't imagine why. Yeah, I don't know, dumbass. Because you told him to? He also suggested that we inject UV light. It destroys your DNA and your blood cells. You would die. He's an idiot. This is the same guy that looked at some of that glasses. He's an absolute moron. But they like it. They like the stupidity of it because it makes them feel smart. You ever talk to someone that's like really, really, really dumb? It makes you feel smart, right? Yeah, I heard about his tariff formula. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing how dumb he is. And that people think that somehow he's playing 5D chess. It's sad. It's just sad. I mean, Kid Rock said the same thing. He said racist stuff in the past. Hulk Hogan said the N-word to his daughter's boyfriend. I mean, everybody. I mean, Pete Hegseth cheated on his wife, had a daughter out of wedlock. I mean, he nominated Matt Gaetz, who had sex with minors. I mean, everybody in his cabinet is morally bankrupt. All of them. I'm legally blind. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jerome. I hope this doesn't affect you, but I think we're all going to be stuck in this horror show, buddy. Yep. And Georgia. Yep. And what happened with Adriana Smith was disgusting in Georgia. And Tom Homan's bribe. Nothing to see here, right? All right, my friends. I got to go hang out with my wife for a little bit, catch up on watching my girl. All right, everyone. I will let you go. All right, my friends. All right. Good to see you. Bye-bye. Hold on. And